What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be giving you guys an update on the auto loan crisis. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video is I got a call over the weekend of a lot of different banks no longer purchasing auto loans or auto paper. So today I'm going to explain to you why this is such a big deal, why this is going to have ripple effects all the way across the lending industry, and why the car market is in for a world of hurt. But before I get into the video, if you do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content, please subscribe to us. Also click the notification bell. We try to post at least twice a week. And once again, follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. Let's get into the video. So if you haven't seen my original video, I'll leave a link somewhere here in the description so you can check it out. But about 9 to 8 months ago, we made a video talking about how we saw banks selling A-graded paper back and forth, which they normally don't. We heard of whispers of people saying that they've seen massive deficiency rates, that people are defaulting left and right, and the numbers are a lot worse than what they seem. So one of the things that I do is I actually go out and I buy paper from banks to sell to other banks, hedge funds, investments, whatever else, whoever wants to buy them. And so when I look at this paper, I saw one alarming trend. Now, normally with repos and defaults, there is no rhythm or rhyme. It just happens. It's just a thing that goes with the economy, with the person, with the car. Like I said, there is no justified thing. But when I saw the paper that was coming out in 2020, 2021, and 2022, they all had one thing in common. Their repo rates were almost double, or excuse me, their default rates were almost double than what 2019, 18, and 17 paper was. So that let us know that people during this time with the pandemic were getting way more car than what they could afford. They were paying way over the value book of it. And a lot of these people were tricking the banks. We talked about on the channel that a lot of people would go out, buy a car, and the second they buy the car, they would call the lender and claim, Rona, I can't go to work, it's not safe, can you give me a forbearance program? And some of these banks had up to a 1-year forbearance on auto loan payments. Now, that's why I believe that they kicked this can down the road, and now we're barely starting to see the cracks in the foundation. We've been screaming this for about 8 months now, and now it's finally hit the mainstream media. People are talking about it. We're watching how the actual, auto lending industry is going to be crumbling just as fast as used car prices. So I'm going to explain how we got into this predicament. Now, normally when we look at auto loans, bundles, or what we call paper, we give them a different particular type of rating. So right now, I'm going to use some pieces of paper to kind of show my demonstration. I am looking for somebody that's like a graphic artist who can help me put stuff in slides up because I'm not that great at it, but bear with me. So this paper is going to represent 1,000 auto loans. So this is like me going out buying a bundle of auto loans from a dealership. Now, first thing we do to rate this paper is we look at the car. Most average AAA paper that we looked at are going to be about 3 to 4 year old cars. So this particular one is 2019 through 2022. Our average credit score in the bundle is about 701. So these are better tiered customers. Term is about 60 months. The reason why is they either well-qualified buyers that qualified for really low interest rates, but they had to take the shorter term, or they put bigger chunks amount financed and they lowered their term. Next one is LTV. Around 80% is what the bundle usually carries. Pay attention to this number. We'll go over that in a minute. And let's say this portfolio's value is about $10 million, which gives us an average auto loan of about $30,000. So this is what I used to rate as AAA paper back in 2019. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold this up. We're going to put this right here, and we're going to rate it as A+ paper. So now that we have this one here, I'm going to go ahead and write up a bundle of loans of what we're looking at purchasing in 2020, 2021, and 2022. Now, before I show you these numbers, remember, this paper right here was how I would buy it and how I'd write it back in 2019. This paper is after the pandemic, after 2020, when the banks went nuts and things went crazy. So remember, this is a bundle of 1,000 auto loans. Our average car, same thing, 2019 to 2022. Our average credit score is 701, still qualified people. Here's our first change. Our average term is 71 months. Remember, our other one was 60 months. We jumped up all the way to 71. There's going to be a few reasons for that. 1, car prices went up from the whole supply and demand. 2, people that normally couldn't qualify for these types of payments They would extend them even further, so this way they can push them into the car and qualify them. And then also people weren't putting as much money down. So there are several reasons why term was extended. Next one, which is a big one, is LTV. Right here, 121% was the average across the board for all 1,000 loans. In the 2019 bundle, its average is around 80% of LTV. So you could see a massive jump. And a big reason why is because a lot of dealers are screaming supply and demand to the banks. They were saying, hey, look, I paid more for this car. This car is worth more. I need to get more money. You need to give me more money. Look, I can't, there's none for sale for this price. So the banks decided, well, we're getting free money from the government. Everybody's just, giving away free money. We're going to go ahead and we're going to give you more money for your car, and we're going to raise the LTV price. So now across the board, they're more in debt and more overpriced in vehicles. Now, this is going to be a major factor into what we go into later. So remember this. So now the exact same 1,000 auto loans with the exact same cars, our asset value, perceived value more like it, is $50 million, which is a far jump from our $30 million that's right there. And our average auto loan on this 1,000 bundle is $50,000. Now these guys, as of the last few months, they were screaming from the hilltop that this is great paper. This is AAA paper. So we're going to put A+, just like this one. So these are both A+ papers from the bank's eyes. This is what they see. This is what lenders are telling each other. This is great paper. So I'm going to show you what happens next. I know how much you guys love props after watching my car video, so here are two more for you. These are going to represent my bankers. These guys are going to be out buying auto loan portfolios. Now, each bank gets about $100 million per month or per quarter. Now, let's say they only spent about $70 million of that. Their goal is they need to make sure that they can get as close as they can or go over the $100 million lending. The reason why is if banks borrow or get X amount of dollars from hedge funds, from the government, from whoever, the Fed, they need to lend that out so next month they can ask for more money. Plus, loans come to term. So every few weeks or every few days, loans fall off the books. And if they don't keep buying new loans like these ones, their portfolio will shrink and their cash flow will go down. So it's their job to get as many loans or purchase as many loans as possible. Now, let's say right here we have the Bank of Pokemon. Bank of Pokemon is looking at both of these loans, these auto loan portfolios. He sees the $50 million right here that was written in 2022. He would look at it and say, okay, well, that looks okay, but I'm going to go with this one right here, which is the $30 million portfolio that was written in 2019. So we're going to put that over here. Where the Bank of Batman's like, well, we want more loans. We want more value. We want to buy this auto loan paper for $50 million because we're going to make more money off of interests and payments and everything else. So we put that over here. Now, fast forward to next year at this exact same time. Whose portfolio is going to be worth more? Pokemon's. Reason why? The Bank of Pokemon purchased auto loan portfolios that were actually done correctly. Remember, they had an LTV of 80%. Why is that so important? As the deficiencies and default rates start to stack up and they have to repo cars, they have that 20% cushion that will give them money. So if they repo a car, they could take it to the auction. They can get majority of their money back. Over here, the Bank of Batman, they cannot. They paid an average of 121% of LTV. That's retail value. So now we take that 120% LTV vehicle, we take it to the auction, you're going to get probably 100% of wholesale, which is going to be, a massive lower amount. So if their average loan is $50K, their average car is worth probably around $37,000 to $38,000 in retail value, which is going to bring them down to the low 20s or high 20s when it comes to wholesaling vehicles. So as these defaults start to stack up, little by little, these guys are getting nervous because they see their value of their paper dropping. So here's what's happening right now. Bank of Batman may say, you know what, I need to sell some of this paper because we're going to lose our ass. So they either try to sell it to the Bank of Pokemon and say, hey, look, I'm going to sell you this paper, but instead of getting 90 cents, I only want 80 cents. Bank of Pokemon's going to look at it and say, you know what, that paper is worth like 60 cents on the dollar because it's overvalued. It's not AAA paper. I don't know what you're thinking. We're going to offer you 60 cents. So Bank of Batman gets upset, doesn't buy it. He's afraid. He doesn't know what to do because he has really bad paper on his books. He has no choice but to go out and buy more paper, which is hilarious. So now he starts talking to the Bank of Pokemon, saying, hey, I see you have some really good AAA rated paper. It was originated back in 2019, so the loans are seasoned, the LTV is lower, and people could afford their cars back then. It was a more structured buying time. So I want to buy your loans to offset the risk and loss of my loans. So now Pokemon's like, well, I paid 90 cents on the dollar for these loans. I need you to give me 95 cents on the dollar. He's going to be upset. He's not going to want to do it, but the Bank of Batman has no choice because if he shows the banks or his hedge fund or whoever else the numbers on how bad he's losing on this paper, they're not going to lend to him anymore. So his only choice is to buy more paper. So he buys this paper outperforms this one and balances out his books. Now here's the problem. Let's fast forward to what's going on today. Now what's happening today is that this paper isn't worth anything. All these banks have been doing, consider musical chairs. They keep shuffling the same paper around, selling it to each other, offsetting their books, trying to unload this bad debt to somebody else. But once these numbers started coming out to light and people saw the massive default rates and the massive deficiencies they're taking at the auctions, it stopped. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I've been doing this for a long time. Even back in 2008, like I said, they were still buying auto loan paper. As of right now, they are not. They completely stopped. Now, there are banks out there that are purchasing, but a lot of the ones that I deal with that have been buying for a long time have stopped. So what does this mean for the auto lending industry? What it means is if these banks can't buy new paper and their books start to look bad, they're not going to be able to lend as much money as what they normally can. They have to get conservative. They have to balance out their books. So how do they do this? Well, they're going to lend lower amounts of money on cars. They're going to ask for bigger down payments, and they're going to ask for more qualifications. So you got to have maybe more time on the job, more income, higher credit score. So this is going to be a credit crunch, and it's going to slowly be a noose tightening around the economy when it comes to the car market. So as these dealers, remember we talked in the last video why they can't lower prices, they're still trying to get these, over retail prices where you see the banks are hurting. They can't financially afford to give dealers 120, 130% LTV. So now they're going to start doing maybe 100%, 90%, 80% of LTV. And these dealers are going to have to get these massive down payments because they're up here. They need to come where the bank's at. But the only thing that's going to do that is a massive down payment, which people do not have right now because of the current state of the economy. So this is why not only are we going to have prices dropping when it comes to the car market because of how the flow of repos are coming in, but also as the lending starts pulling down, it's going to drive it down even more. If you guys remember back when 2008, when they started changing all these housing laws where if you wanted to apply for a home loan, you had to have a certain amount of credit, certain amount of job time, W-2s, blah, blah, blah. You do not want the government to step in and regulate auto lending. Now, a lot of people think it's a good idea because it'll help regulate it and people won't get in debt and everything else. But here's the problem. Let's say you're a regular person and you're making $40,000 a year and your wife makes maybe $30,000 a year. And you want to go out and buy a brand new Escalade, something for the kids and wife. And that's a $100,000 vehicle now. If government steps in and says, well, you guys don't even make $100,000 years combined, you can only afford a $30,000 car. What do you do then? Now you're stuck buying some maybe low-level Kia or low-level Hyundai, and you can't get the car that you want. They make a pay structure almost like houses where your DTI has to be here, your income has to be here to afford a certain car. Because if they did step in right now, I know half the people watching this video technically on paper could not afford their car because of some of the regulatory stuff that they're going to set up. So we do not want that. But anyways, I would love to get your thoughts and opinion on the whole situation. Please leave a comment below. If your opinion is different from mine, that's okay. We could still be friends. The whole purpose of this channel is to share this automotive knowledge so we can be more transparent about the actual industry and hopefully learn something along the way. But once again, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Follow us on Instagram @LuckyLopez, and we'll see you guys next video.